Good morning, everybody. It is 1:44 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and this is the overview for week 9. We are covering or continuing to cover hypothesis testing this week. So let's just take a look at what we've got going on this week. So weekly folders, week 9. So we've already had our class for the week. We didn't really have a new assignment because we worked in class. We worked on our part 3 of our project. So this week, the only assignments that you have are viewing the one video I have on full examples for hypothesis testing, and then to continue working on your final project. If you would like feedback this week on part 3 of your project, then you need to turn that in by Tuesday night, so later this evening. And then there's only 3 homework assignments. And that's pretty much it. So you can spend the bulk of your time working on part 3 of, or actually you can start putting the rest of the project together if you finish with your part 3. So let's just go through readings. This is chapter 9 in the OpenStax book lecture videos. You'll notice there's only one video. I told you guys in class that I worked, in the videos, I worked the first 9 examples and then examples 10 through 18. I did not work to give you guys the opportunity to work. What you can do is you can pull up all the examples in the PDF format right here and practice all of them, and then you can go back and look at the answer key here in the filled in notes. But I do work 1 through 9 in the videos. And I do encourage you to work 10 through 18 on your own and check them afterwards. Assignments other than that is working on your project. We're now on part 3. Again, if you can turn it in by Tuesday, July 26th at 11:59. Basically, you needed to narrow your research down to one question about one of your variables, specifically about a mean or a proportion. I have chi-squared inference tests as well, but technically we haven't gotten to that part yet, so you should probably focus on just a mean or a proportion and come up with a claim about that, and then state your null and alternative hypothesis, come up with your significance level, state the test you're going to use and why, use our guru to perform the test, save the graph and the little table from the test, include that with this project, decide whether to reject or fail to reject the null, state your conclusion, use our guru to calculate your confidence interval, interpret the interval in a sentence and explain whether it agrees or doesn't agree. I do a lot of that in the examples this week, so be sure to watch the videos from this week. That can be really helpful there. There are a couple of you guys who in class earlier this evening, you guys, we talked about what you should do in your project, and we decided it was best, based off of the type of data you had, to do a 2 population test where you did some comparisons. So if I showed you how to do that, that's actually the type of testing we're doing next week. If I showed you how to do that, when you get to this part here, doing the confidence interval, you can probably find your confidence interval. What you probably can't do, though, is interpret it. So if this is only for the people that I helped set up a 2 population test this past evening. Everybody else, you should be okay. But if you're one of those students, I think there were maybe 3 to 4 of you guys, then do only 1 through 8 for now, and then I can help you with 9 and 10 next week. All right, so just you can turn 1 through 8 in for me and just leave 9 and 10 blank, And then what I'm going to do is once I get through those this week, I'll give them back to you hopefully soon, so that you can put your rough draft together for parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Part 1 is an introduction. Part 4 is a conclusion. So you can write those based off of what you've done in part 2 and part 3. And I give suggestions in the final project here. So intro, you need to talk about what data set you chose, why you chose it, the population the data represents, research questions you'll be answering in your project. So some of you had a lot of broad questions, but now that we've done the project, you've probably narrowed that down, and why you think it's important. Moving on to part 2, which you've done, but you just need to make corrections. Part 3 you're doing now. And then the conclusion is just what conclusions, if any, do you believe you can draw from your study? So you have multiple parts of your study. You have the inference test. Yes, you can definitely make conclusions there, but you can also make conclusions from your graphs and your number summaries from part 2. Are the results what you expected? What did you learn from your project, etc. So that's part 1, and part 4 are the intro and conclusion. And again, if you turn this in, the full thing, a rough draft, no later than Tuesday, August 2nd, that's next week, then I will grade them, give them back to you, and allow you the opportunity to make corrections and turn in hopefully a perfect or almost perfect project by the due date on August 9th. Okay, and so that's, all I have for this week is just, working on the project and 3 new homework assignments. If you have questions, please remember that if you go to the course materials tab, which is where everything else is, you will see this lovely Padlet wall, and people are using it. So definitely send your questions here. Okay. All right. Have a great week, and I hope to hear from you guys if you have questions. Okay.